Welcome back folks, my name is LastKnownMeal and today we're going to talk about Cyberpunk 2077, well more precisely about an in-depth article NightCityLife.de released. They are a German cyberpunk website and they had a chance to play the game, not through streaming but actually in front of the PC with one of the physical booths CDPR had in Germany. In this huge preview we learned a lot about the game, especially regarding the corpo life path during the prologue of the game itself. Keep in mind, I had to Google translate this from German, so if there are any mistakes, I do apologize in advance. But we also did get a confirmation regarding life paths. As a corpo, you start off working for Arasaka. V is always under enormous pressure, that's why he throws up at the beginning of that scene and the scene we had in the trailer, but has installed military-grade cyberware and can afford things others can only dream of, at least in the beginning. As a nomad, you start off in the Badlands, and you go to Night City to work as a lone wolf, and as a street kid, you are connected to gangs of Night City and know people that can help you if you get in trouble or if you need a job. At first they go in depth when it comes to character creation. We already know some of these things, I will just skip that, but overall the choices during character creation screen are insane, and some of the bonus things that are actually there, you can change your teeth, make them white or even gold. And next thing is that besides the usual color of the eye, you can also have a different cyberware for eyeballs, a different shape, with for example a shape of heart, crosses, targets, etc., which is also extremely cool. Now all comments you get from NPCs as you play will be based on gender. For example, as you're walking the streets, NPC can say, well, that's a pretty face, or you'll look like fun. They won't be able to comment on everything because that is of course difficult to develop and would restrict the player's freedom of design, as it was explained by Miles Tost, a senior level designer at CDPR. Now I do want to focus on attributes because they really go in depth with it. So at the start of the game you have 20 points you can distribute to 5 attributes. First off is the body, which increases health and stamina, how long can you hold characters before they can escape, shotguns, heavy weapons, heavy machine guns, blunt blow weapons, violent opening of doors and dragging people out of the cars. Intelligence, solving complex problems, quick hacking the capacity of the cyberdeck, can interact with more objects, uncover new paths in the game world. Reflexes, speed, agility and reaction time, dodging critical hits, attack and movement speed, handling rifles, handguns and blades. Then we have tech, which is building armor and weapons, handling tech weapons, impact in the fight against mechanical opponents. Cool, which is dealing with difficult situation, influencing critical hits and damage resistance, how quickly an opponent notices V when sneaking up on them, and effectiveness as an assassin. Of course, when you invest in some of these, they can open up different dialogue options with various people. With tech, you can persuade an IT guy to basically leave the office, or if your strength is high, if your body is high, you will have a better relationship with bodybuilders among gang members. They also have a cool diagram kinda separating everything and how it looks. Now of course, these 5 attributes expand with their own skill trees. With each level, you can assign an attribute point and a perk point. On top of that, we already know you have street cred, which you get by doing jobs for fixers, tracking down bounties and interacting with other content in the world. That also increases your reputation so you can get more jobs and well, more people will trust you. Now regarding skill trees, there are 12 skill trees in total. So for example, body has 3 skill trees: athletics, street brawler and annihilation. So athletic skill tree has 22 skills, and this is a few examples they listed. You have the gladiator, which reduces damage taken while blocking by 20%, regeneration, which slowly regenerates your health in combat, pack mule, which doubles the carrying capacity, invincible, increases health by 10%, superhero landing, which reduces fall damage by 5%, multitasker, which allows you to sprint, slide and jump at the same time, transporter lets you shoot and sprint while carrying a body, and of course there is the hard which at start of the fight, basically your armor and resistance are increased by 20% for 10 seconds. Now, Street Brawler has 20 individual skills, which again is hand-to-hand combat, and my favorite tab is definitely Annihilation, which is for heavy weapons and shotguns, which also has 19 skills. Now, in the Reflex tree, you have 20 skills for handguns, 20 skills for rifles, and 23 skills for blades. So Reflex also divides into 3 skill trees. Now, Cool is very interesting because it has Stealth and Cold Blood. Cold Blood perks are mostly activated when your HP goes down to about 40%. It simulates how calm V can actually stay while in combat, which, if you think about it, is going to be, well, how calm is your aim and how fast are your reflexes. You can even increase the skill itself to maximum 3, which makes the effect stronger. There is of course a crowning skill at the bottom of the tree, also called a trait, but you need to unlock pretty much everything in that skill tree before you can unlock that certain trait. The number of attribute points also determines how many perk points you can put inside the skill tree. So if your body is 4, you can spend up to a maximum of 4 perk points. So of course that rises with your level, which it seems to be 20 for this game, and not sure if they will increase the cap later. It would make sense. Of course, your skill tree can also level up. Yes, I know, it's kinda complicated, but it makes sense. Because when you use a rifle or a handgun, at first V is clumsy with that weapon because you don't know how to actually use it. Now, as time goes on and you use that particular, let's say, handgun or a rifle, your skill with that weapon is going to increase, meaning that the animation is going to become smoother and V is going to become, well, free with that weapon, so you will be able to take down enemies a lot faster than at the start. That's why some combat can look flimsy during the gameplay, because at first V doesn't know how to properly use a weapon. That also makes sense with melee weapons, so Night City Wire estimated that Cyberpunk might have around 228 skills in their fluid class system, which is a lot. There is also a more detailed explanation on what happened with the Techie class. Basically, as the game was developed, the devs realized that Netrunner and Techie class were kinda similar, to why this was kinda revamped. So you still have 2 skill trees of tech attribute, and those are crafting, which is 19 skills, and engineering, which they haven't listed how many skills you have there. In crafting, you have this, for example. Master Gunsmith, which is 5% change of getting additional prototype component as crafting material for every item made. R&D, which enables you to upgrade items to legendary quality level. And Crazy Science, which is a trait and a master skill at the end of that tree, which increases the sales prices of your items by 25%. And this is very useful because I was wondering if we are gonna be able to sell the stuff we make and have a healthy economy in the game. Just because of this skill, it's very important, so you will gather materials if you are actually going for that class. You will be able to upgrade those things or create components from those blueprints and materials, and I guess you can actually sell them and make money. Now, for the engineering skills, you have Mech Looter, which you can basically loot scrap from drones, robots, etc., and have a 30% chance of finding weapon parts. You have Blast Shielding, which reduces your explosion damage taken by 10%. Shrapnel, which adds, I guess, 20 additional damage to every previous bomb. Grenadier, which makes the explosion radius of grenades visible to you, that we've seen actually in the gameplay. Reverse Engineering lets you take off weapon mods. And you can't touch this, make yourself immune to the effects of your own grenade. So if you want to kinda go full kamikaze onto someone and, well, come out unhurt, well, you can do it. Again, Flathead is in the prologue missions, but not as a companion anymore, sadly. Keep in mind, Techie in 2020 tabletop didn't have a robot to follow. He wasn't a guy with a robot, this was more reserved for the video game. Now let's go to the story of the Corpo life path. I will shorten this, but I recommend actually reading through all of this. So as Corpo V, you start off by throwing up in a toilet inside Arasaka. Just moments ago, Arasaka sunk a huge operation in Frankfurt. They are all mad because of that, and you are a member of the counterintelligence in the corporation. And then V goes to his boss, Agent Jenkins. As you go there, you are presented with another boss called Abernathy. Now keep in mind, you don't like that boss because they try to undermine your work and Jenkins' operation of basically him becoming the head of special operations. Now Jenkins is actually the guy in front of those large screens. On the screen there is a meeting of ESA, the European Space Agency. Then your boss gives the order and people on the screen scream in pain and collapse on a table. It seems that T-Bug actually roasted those people. Now Jenkins pulled a fast one here, and it seems that Abernathy, his boss, calls him and he is not happy. He basically says that they handled this situation very poorly, it could have been done more silently, and this was another huge mistake in the Frankfurt operation. Then we decide that something needs to happen, and that's when V comes to Lizzie's, something we've seen in the gameplay when you actually hit those guys playing basketball. After that, when you go to Jackie and you talk to him, you are approached by 3 people who claim to be from Arasaka. Now, Nicety Life describes them as one guy, sharply dressed, and 2 almost sumo wrestlers standing behind him. Now, in the gameplay, we actually see him and his 2 goons. As I said, I have a strong suspicion that the man who approaches you is Kaoru that we've seen in the gameplay when V tries to basically boost that car. Because, as I said, he was described with 2 goons who look like sumo wrestlers, and well, they're kinda the same. After that, you have the 6 months montage. You will have it for each life pad, but for a Corpo one, basically after these people leave, you will just be fired and your eyes will go black and you will faint and fall to the floor. Now, after the 6 months montage, when V collapses to the floor, we have the Maelstrom mission that we've had in the 48-minute demo, which was also changed. You will have 4 options there, it seems. Buy Flathead with your own money and just go out. Shoot Royce in the head immediately, which triggers a war with the entire gang, but you won't have the final boss fight. You can give the contaminated chip to them, which will create diversion when Militech basically hacks the entire place. And lastly, you can tell Royce about the virus and be good with the gang, but Militech storms into the building itself. Now, everything here will be based on your decisions. Again, none of us actually knows the outcome later in the game this might cause, so we shall see. Then we have the Arasaka mission, where we have to get the immortality chip from Yorinobu Arasaka, which is the son of Saburo Arasaka, the CEO of Arasaka Corp. Keep in mind, his son has its own branch of the company, a separate branch, and Yorinobu actually stole the chip from his father's lab. Then there is that heist meeting. You go to basically plan the robbery, and again, as they mentioned during the prologue, some missions, Flathead is going to play a role there, regardless of your class, and I guess that's the end of their demo. Now let's talk a bit about the menu and maps. The menu will have a map of the game, journal, news, database, inventory, and character menu. It seems that the map will be shown as a 3-dimensional one, like a hologram, but generally the overall outline will be red and blue, like overall color style of the menu. These are some of the markers that they actually noticed. V's apartment, main quest, side quest, gun for hire, theft agent, saboteur, SOS mercenary, wanted, special delivery, traveling dealer, convoy, fixer, client, scanner hustles, ongoing attack, suspected organized crime, unauthorized access, reported crime, cyberpsycho sighted, smuggling activity, clothes, ripper dog, netrunner, techie, gun shop, melee trainer, food stall, bar, junk shop, and lockers. Your inventory is divided into a backpack equipment and cyberware. You can wear headgear, face wear I guess, 2 layers on upper body, so shirt and jacket for example, and then pants and shoes. Regarding quality, you have ordinary, unusual, rare, epic, legendary, and iconic. An iconic weapon is the Chaos pistol for example from Royce, the Maelstrom boss, so those guns will be extra special. Regarding your clothes, some can be upgraded, like the sneakers for example V is wearing. You can make them bulletproof, which adds, let's say, +5 armor to your stats. Some clothes, like the samurai jacket, gives you bonuses on the streets and street cred you basically earn. Regarding cyberware, you have three differences. Active cyberware, which must be activated by a player. Triggered, which is activated as soon as certain framework conditions are met. And passive, which starts as soon as it's installed and runs in the background. And as it was with weapons, you also have common, unusual, rare, epic, and legendary cyberware. Depending on the quality of cyberware, a different number of slots is occupied. And these are the slots you have. Brain 3 slots, eyes I guess 1 in each, cardiovascular system which is 3, immune system which is 2, peripheral nervous system 2, skin 3, operating system 1, skeletal system, so which means hand, arm, leg, 1, 1, 1 on both sides. So 1 hand, 1 arm and 1 leg augmentation on each side. Now this is some of the cyberware we can actually use in the game. Mantis blades that we've seen, blood pump installed in the cardiovascular system slot, it activates at a certain point in time and improves healing. Micro rotors, which are passive cyberware in the nervous system that improves movement, speed and precision. Reflex tuners that are triggered cyberware that activate slow motion as soon as your health falls below a critical value. Gorilla hands, I mean, you install these in the hands which improves your strength or melee strength. There are also several fragments here it seems. You have the monowire, which the cyberware that houses a fiber optic lasso in your arm that you can actually easily use to slice opponents or quick hack people from distance. It's actually one of my most favorite augmentations we can use. Then we have Kareznikov, which we actually first saw in the 48-minute demo, which was the booster spray. This also exists as an implant for your nervous system. The trigger activates a slow motion effect as soon as you have successfully avoided an enemy attack. Synth lungs, artificial lungs that are installed in the cardiovascular system and improve the regeneration of your endurance. Of course, you can craft your own by using blueprints and materials you gather, and you gather materials by disassembling junk or general stuff you find. You can make consumables, weapons, weapon mods, armor, daemons, cyberware that is usually high quality depending on your knowledge. You can also make scopes, silencers, and skins for weapons. Next thing I wanted to talk about is hacking, which has also seen an upgrade. It has changed from the original vision they had in the deep dive. Now instead of plugging in immediately, you initiate a scanner mode where you can quick hack certain things that you see like cameras, doors or vending machines. You have memory, which is a resource you use for hacking. It gets depleted but regenerates itself during some time. You also have daemons, which is basically a sequence of viruses that you can initiate on someone, like for example, short circuit, which overloads the opponent's cyberware and causes damage through the short circuit. Overheating, this is a more powerful attack, not only overloads the enemy's cyberware, but sets it on fire, causing damage over time. SOS signal fakes a distant squad member's emergency call, causing the victim to move and search the area. This is especially useful for silent playthroughs. Then you can actually put the target in cyberpsychosis, killing them with their own weapon. Optics restart resets the target's eye implant so that restarting the cyberware triggers temporary blindness. Weapon malfunction impairs the functioning of the opposing weapon and even causes the weapon to need to be replaced. And honestly, everything I've heard so far and seen so far about cyberware looks extremely cool and extremely fun. Now, as we already know, the game has 6 districts plus Badlands like Watson, Westbrook City Center, Haywood, Santo Domingo and Pacifica. Then Watson, for example, is divided into smaller districts like Little China, where V's apartment is located, Kabuki, where you find the Afterlife bar from the gameplay, Arasaka Waterfront and Northside Industrial District. And as they said, and was confirmed long time ago, no loading screens whatsoever as you drive through Night City or you want to go out into the Badlands. Of course, during prologue there are other things you can do, like a lot of side activities, and Night City Life goes a lot into detail on some of them, which I highly recommend reading through. They also describe the radio and radio stations in the game. They had Vexelstorm Radio, Night FM, The Dirge, Radio Pepcast, Pacific Dreams, Moro Rock Radio and Body Heat Nation. There is of course much more to be learned about the game in this article, which is tied to their opinions and their experiences. I will leave a link to it down below. really recommend reading through it. It's originally in German, but you can use Google Translate to translate this from German. This was a hefty video, but we did learn a lot regarding the game. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to tell me down below what you think about all of this, and click that like and subscribe button for more Cyberpunk 2077 videos, and join our growing community on Twitter and Discord. I also made a Patreon page. If you were looking for an extra way to support the channel, you can do it through that. And huge thanks to my current Patreon supporters. This is LKM signing out, and stay classy everyone. Bye bye.